Welcome back, everyone, to the third episode of the 4-Point Play podcast. I would just like to thank everyone for the support and intrigue that we received on the previous episodes. It's definitely exceeded our expectations. So yesterday was a pretty uneventful day for all NBA fans in terms of the hype surrounding the almighty but often illustrious trade deadline.
Happy Washington Shams Day.
Shut up. But do not fret, as we have a full analysis coming up shortly. The episode is going to consist of our big game recaps from last night, as well as our big game predictions for the following day, and then followed by our analysis of the trade deadlines and the All-Star teams. So first up in our big game recaps is the Denver Nuggets.
What do you mean first up? It's the only one we're doing.
Okay. The first and only big game recap that we have is the Denver Nuggets at the Brooklyn Nets.
Because all the other games sucked.
This was such a good game, honestly.
That's true.
The Nets had like 90 points with like 9 minutes to go in the third.
Wow. And that's why they beat the Nuggets 135-130.
Yeah, I mean, the ugly man, he had himself another triple-double, 25
Nikola.
points, 14 boards, 10 assists. He's putting his name in the MVP race, but don't feel as if he's all the way up there yet. But he had a pretty good game.
Call Jokic ugly one more time, bro.
One more what? One more what?
I'm sorry, this is a PG-13 podcast, but you know I let it slip for my boy.
And
It'll
then
never happen
D'Lo
again.
dropped 27 points, 11 assists, 6 boards, 60% shooting from 3. So he had a pretty good night.
He is indeed the real deal.
You know, Karis LeVert goes back tomorrow.
Too bad he's not a true all-star.
Yeah, he comes back.
That's insane.
I mean, I really don't feel as if D'Lo's the real deal. I highly doubt that he's going to be able to keep up this performance like for the next year. I highly doubt that, especially with Karis LeVert coming back. I know that we vouched for D'Lo last episode, and I still agree with that. He's an all-star, but he's not a true all-star.
Can I just hit it once for Kyle? LeVert alert. Okay.
That was lovely.
That just makes me want to quit the podcast.
I think D'Angelo.
I think I'm ready to go up.
No, you go.
All right. I think he 100% deserves to be an all-star. So I don't know what you mean by he's not a true all-star.
No. So what I meant was that he's not. Okay. So you look at like DeAndre Jordan a few years ago. He wasn't a true all-star. That was like a one-time all-star nomination. Like Kyle Korver.
So you're saying that D'Lo's never gonna make the all-star team ever again? Is that your hot take?
He's what, like 22?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's like 22 years old.
Bro,
I wouldn't be surprised.
He has so many
that
years
is a below freezing take.
Okay. I wouldn't say, yeah, that's a bold take because I mean he's still so young and he's obviously gotten so much better. I'm not gonna say he's an all-star every single year because I don't think he's that kind of player.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
But he has so much room to get even better, and I think he'll definitely be an all-star.
I think in the
couple more years.
You know, when he's given the playing time, he's shown he can produce, and he's only 22 years old. He's going to be in the league for a very long time.
Kevin Knox is only 19.
Yeah, and I'm 17, so I don't understand what you're trying to make.
And Nikola is only 20.
Yeah, but
we don't talk about him.
Yeah.
Guys.
Okay, so time for some upcoming predictions.
Let's talk about our last predictions.
Yeah.
How bad they were.
Oh yeah. First, yeah. I mean, I got the most right. I got 2 right, and then the rest of you got 1 right. So I'm currently in the lead.
But I think that segment kind of destroyed all of our credibility because we all picked the Knicks to win.
We all got really excited over the fact we got really excited over the fact that we got Dennis Smith and DeAndre Jordan. We're like, the Knicks got this one, and then the Knicks got whooped.
Dennis Smith did have a really good game. His second game. With the
if Nick Cusimano is watching this right now, well, not right now, but whenever this goes live, I would just like to apologize to him, and honestly, from all of us for saying that the Knicks are going to win. Sorry, Nick. We won't do it again.
Because people trust us.
Yeah,
can't let them down.
People trust our professional analytics.
So now you know what? We're gonna try again with another set of 3 games. Starting off with the Nuggets at the 76ers. Matt, you start off with your prediction.
Okay, so I don't really. I personally, I have the 76ers taking it, but pretty even because with their new team, I don't know how to acclimate with Tobias Harris yet. I believe he's going to be playing in this game, but I'm not certain. Nuggets are obviously one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Philly is also one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be a pretty great matchup, two top-tier teams, but I think Philly's going to pull this one out with their new lineup.
Yeah, so I agree with Matt. I'm going with the 76ers on this one. Preparing to
Hello,
What?
Nuggets.
Steven, you good?
What?
He said Toby then dipped.
Yeah. I thought you died.
Oh, my apologies.
Just say again what you said.
Say it again.
Oh,
Said Toby and
I
dipped.
think after
Toby.
Tobias Harris, the core four of Harris, Embiid, Simmons, and Butler are going to be.
Disrespect to Redick.
Excuse me.
Redick is still valuable to that team. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay, he is good, but he's not the same caliber as those four.
Fair enough.
The Nuggets are currently 37-17 compared to the 76, 34-20. But I think the 76ers are going to be getting the win, especially since they're playing at home.
Okay, well, apparently this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm taking the Nuggets just because I love the way the Nuggets play, and it's hard to pick against them. I think the Sixers are vulnerable. I think they will have a rough patch coming up, just because obviously in the long run for this season, Tobias Harris is going to be so big for them. But I think they got 4 guys who are averaging 17-plus points a game, and I think it's going to take them a week or two to figure out how to really share the ball and how to get everyone involved. So I think they'll be fine, but it'll take a little bit.
Okay, I agree 100%. I wasn't sure if you were gonna touch on it until the end, but my big reason is what you were saying about how it's just gonna take a while for that new core 4 to synergize.
Core 5, actually.
Oh my God, JJ Redick is just a glorified Kyle Korver. Okay,
but he's better. He's better. He is.
But so the Nuggets are really good. Obviously, they're
That is true.
Are they number 2 in the West, or are they tied with the Warriors right now?
Number 1.
They are 1.5 games back, I believe.
1.5 games back? What? No
Hello?
way.
Definitely not. But
I mean, I know they lost their last game, but I feel like
they're 1.5 games back from the first.
Weren't they just half a game ahead of the Warriors?
Yes.
you know, Steve does come in with all the stats. All right,
He's ready, and I'm
You're
not.
right.
Hold on, guys. I would just like to mention that the Celtics and Lakers game ended with a buzzer beater from Rajon Rondo on the last-second shot. Lakers won 129-128. Kyrie Irving hit a insane layup over Tyson Chandler, Kyle Kuzma, and Rajon Rondo to make it 128-127 with 11 seconds left. And then Brandon Ingram comes back on the other end, goes in for a layup, gets blocked by Al Horford. There's a scramble for the ball, and then Rajon Rondo hits a jumper with 1 second left to win the game.
That's actually wild.
Wow.
Imagine telling
God.
someone 10 years ago that Rondo is gonna hit a buzzer beater for the Lakers against the Celtics.
That'd be funny.
That's like some bizarro world.
Imagine trying to tell
situation.
someone that Rondo actually shot. Like,
Yeah.
And made one.
I hate Rondo. Don't get me started on Rondo.
what? I love Rondo.
I hate
playoff
Rajon Rondo.
What's the hate about him?
What are you talking about? Rajon Rondo is one of the most dramatic players in the NBA by far.
Okay, well, he's also one of the most fun players to watch.
Okay. No, he's okay. Okay, whatever.
Yes, he
All
is.
right.
He's the best
All right,
playmaker in the league. Wait, other than like Chris
Ooh,
Paul. Other than
hot
Chris Paul.
take.
Okay, other than Chris Paul. Other than Chris Paul.
Mm.
I think he's the
What are you
no.
talking about?
I think he's the second best passer in the league. I'm serious.
LeBron James, dude.
LeBron James is a better flashy passer, but a pure playmaker, I'll give it to Rondo.
He was also a very flashy passer. The most beautiful man in the league, Nikola
Jokic.
Yep.
All right, so
this
moving.
This man just does like behind the back passes at will.
Moving on.
Oh, wait,
That's
hold
true.
on. Before I
We're
move
not
on,
moving
I'm scrolling through Instagram, and like if you go on like the following things, like you can see what people liked, and Drake just liked a picture of a 15-year-old girl's like selfie, so that's kind of controversial. I just want to add that in.
This is
So-
nothing new. Like
so
this is like
confirmed-
something I see every single day.
Confirmed. Matt doesn't pay attention when he's hosting the podcast.
Yeah, Matt focuses on pictures that Drake likes.
Yep.
Other than
All right.
Next game,
Wow.
Bucks at Mavericks.
let's save some time here. Are
Obviously-
any of us actually gonna take the Mavericks?
No,
No.
Like,
absolutely not.
do you see how bad the Mavericks roster is now?
Yeah. especially with that poor
and
giant
Kristaps.
I don't know how to say his name, but that guy on the team now.
Tingus Ping.
I don't even know who that is anymore.
Yeah.
Tingy Pingy. I don't know.
I mean I was so glad because James recently bought a I don't know how to say his name, but he bought that jersey
Kuzminskas?
of the I
Oh
think,
my God, I forgot about that guy.
Mindaugas Kuzminskas. Yeah. That's a little Easter egg for real Knicks fans right there. But yeah, he bought a jersey and I was laughing at it, like, ha ha ha. And then I realized that I have a hoodie, like I have a Knicks hoodie that literally says that guy's name on the back of it. And like I was making fun of James for like owning that guy's jersey, but now I'm like,
And guess
now I'm
what?
kind of in the fall
I
too.
never even wore it yet, so I could return it and get
Okay.
Dennis Smith. You're welcome.
Who's also going to get traded.
I feel like I should just wait till like the end of the
The
offseason.
Yeah.
draft. Just wait to see who they draft.
But I'm going to the game next week, so I want a jersey.
I have a Melo jersey if you want.
Tough time.
I have a Tyson
Yeah,
Chandler
we-
jersey.
You also have an Amari Stoudemire jersey and a Chauncey Billups jersey.
Well, the Chauncey Billups does not fit anymore, but that is easily the.
Getting too big. All right. The next game is Heat at the Kings. So Sacramento Kings have been going absolutely off this year.
Is anyone not going Kings?
An ecstatic 2 games over 500.
Yeah, recently.
We could pretty much say
I
the
mean-
same thing about last game. Who's not going with the Kings?
I mean,
Before,
I'm going with
like,
the Kings, but I, don't
I definitely
it's gonna
think
be
we
an
should
easy
get
one.
in
I think the Kings
to-
are better, but
to-
I don't
to-
think they're gonna get it easily.
to like who the Kings are, but I think we're all guessing Kings. But Matt, continue on what you're gonna
Okay,
say.
yeah. So I just want to like really quickly touch on the Kings because we haven't talked about them yet. Such a great young roster. You have most improved player hopeful De'Aaron Fox, stud Marvin Bagley, a whole bunch of veterans. They just got Harrison Barnes too, so that should be a nice addition. They're currently 9th. They're they're like
They're one game back.
Yeah, they're one game back from the Clippers, who are in the 8th seed.
Who are
Um,
not good anymore without Tobias Harris.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
just about to mention that how I feel like they're gonna make the push for 8th, possibly even 7th with the Utah Jazz, but I don't see them going any further than that. But their roster is insane. So many young talents, so much young potential. I really love it.
Yeah, definitely. Saying also Buddy Hield and Willie Cauley-Stein are 2 big
Yeah.
factors on the team
Yeah.
as well. And Bogdanovich.
Yep.
Yeah, Kings
from overseas.
Kings really go. They really go with like a full 12-man rotation. Like it's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Cauley
talented,
Stein has
very good
3
roster.
face tats.
Who does?
Well,
Cauley Stein,
that's 3 more than I have, so good for him.
and 2 more than how many Wilson Chandler has. Okay.
And 1 more than Steven has.
Honestly, do you guys think that Buddy Hield could have made like some kind of case to be an All-Star reserve?
No,
Yes,
absolutely not.
if he was in the East.
I mean, yeah, that's true. If he was in the East, he probably would, but in the West, it's more difficult.
You're right that in the West it's a bit more difficult, but he's just not having an all-star year. I mean, he's for the West. I'm talking about.
That's true.
20 points per game, 5 boards. He's shooting 45% from 3 and 86 from the free
Honestly,
throw line.
he might win Most Improved.
They're
It's definitely in the running for it.
yeah.
It's him and De'Aaron Fox, honestly.
No, it's him, De'Aaron
Yeah.
Fox, and Pascal Siakam.
And
What did-
D'Lo.
what did-
True.
What did Siakam just
Probably
have, Sam?
somebody
Like 33 and 14.
Yeah, he had like 33, 14, and 5. Like,
Yeah,
what the-
he's been
and
insane.
he's probably gonna be on the bench now.
Fun fact: he didn't start playing basketball until 17 years old, so we technically all have a chance still.
Oh, except we're not.
Well, Steve's
We're
7
not
too.
what?
Seven
We're
So.
foot
not
and
what, Sam?
African American.
Say it.
We're
Say
not
it,
7.
Sam.
We're not 7-foot African American freak athletes.
All right. We
Says
just
who?
lost 100 viewers right there.
James, were you calling me out?
No, I said you're 7 too.
Yeah.
What did you think I said?
Oh, I thought you said like, oh, I'm not good at 17, so they still hope for me or something. But,
Okay.
I would never
Never.
doubt you.
Um. So, elephant in the room. The really, really crappy trade deadline.
It was so bad.
It was
oh,
very
also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we start, I would like to display our anger towards the refs as they made an awful call towards Landry Shamet, who should have had
Oh.
another 4-point
Oh
play.
yeah, that was terrible.
That was
Could have been
so
a
aggravating.
2-time member.
Yeah, the refs didn't.
You know,
Mr.
he's
Shamet joined the
just shooting a
4-point play
regular
call.
jumper, and like the guy like runs into Landry's leg and falls.
Yeah.
It's just a regular jump shot. He didn't kick out or anything.
You know,
That was so
they probably
Sorry to-
said we gotta let another person shine and get into the 4-point play Hall of
Yeah.
Fame.
I guess so.
I mean, you know what? But if you look at it from that standpoint, it makes sense. That's all I have to
Yeah.
say. Also, I'm just
Alright.
talking out of my ass, but
Yeah, I mean, you tend to do that every single podcast. So.
which is why I'm the favorite. But you know,
That's debatable. Okay, so probably
I got sources.
one of the best ones, not the best trade that happened, but pretty I wouldn't say underrated, but pretty solid pickup was Tobias Harris for the 76ers,
Definitely
especially
one
for
of
a
the top
team
trades.
that is making such a strong push for the Eastern Conference title. They added an insane asset. Tobias Harris, they gave up, and Boban Marjanovic, can't forget about him.
Of course.
They gave away the legend Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, and a 2020 first round pick. I believe that this trade is going to very strongly work out for the 76ers. Tobias Harris gives them much needed space on the floor. He's a great stretch four, possibly even stretch five. Clippers played him at the five. Yeah, the Clippers played him at the five for I
Really?
believe like 2 or 3 games. Yeah. With the small ball lineup, Philly's obviously not with the small ball lineup because of Joel Embiid, but
And
the
Boban.
Clippers ran him. Yeah, the Clippers ran him at the five for a few times, but he's a solid four for their lineup, and I feel like he's going to really space the floor in a much needed team that really needs it because you have Ben Simmons who's like crowding the paint every single game. You have, Jimmy Butler. You have Jimmy
What's
Butler who
that
can't
guy?
make.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Very forgettable
I
name.
forgot his name. Yeah, he cannot space the floor for his life. So when you have two players like that, it's pretty hard to create spacing, create open 3-point shots. But I feel like with this addition, they're really making some strides here.
We
Great
also got
analysis.
Mike Scott, who has emoji tattoos.
Who also has a fantastic nickname, the
What is it?
regional manager.
The what?
The regional manager instead of like regional manager. Regional manager.
Oh, well, that is
Where my
terrible.
offense fans at?
I don't
What do you mean? That's a
That is
fantastic.
awful.
No, that's amazing.
The
I don't
regional
understand it.
manager?
Have you never seen The Office?
Have
Yeah,
you
I've
never
seen The
seen a
Office,
good
but, like-
nickname?
So what don't you get?
But what is he the regional manager? Oh,
No, the regional
Michael
manager.
Scott.
Like 3.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
So
okay,
back to
I
Tobias
understand.
Harris.
Mind
So where do you guys have? Do you guys have the 76ers ahead of the Raptors or Bucks now?
No.
No.
You still have them as third.
I gotta see it to believe it.
I mean, we'll get to the Raptors later, but
Yeah, I think Raptors are consensus.
They'll never
Yeah,
win
the
with Jimmy
Raptors,
Butler on their team.
I mean,
So
the Bucks
actually,
are-
no. I'd say you keep the order actually, because every team got someone really good.
I mean, I would still, for me personally, I would still keep the Bucks at number 1,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the Raptors just shot themselves up to like the second. That kind of sounded bad, but they went up to second in my opinion.
Well, all three of the
did?
teams, the
Raptors.
Bucks, the Raptors, and the 76ers all made big moves. So I
You
see
don't
them
think
as the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Wait, you don't think
Well,
the
yeah.
Raptors were
I think they
top
were.
two
I
in
think
the
they were
first
4
place?
anyway. I had them all
Well, the
above the
76ers are
Celtics
fifth
anyway.
seed currently.
Wait,
I think they'll be moving up.
wait. The Sixers are what seed?
They're the 5th seed. They're behind the Celtics and the Pacers.
Pacers have been
Oh,
doing
yeah.
well without Oladipo, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to persist after the All-Star break, but we'll see.
Guess
So
maybe,
getting to our next trade.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll like introduce the next trade, and then you
Alright.
guys could
Sure.
So
You
the next trade is we're gonna go to the Marc Gasol trade because I feel like that's a very important one that we need to talk about.
Sure.
Raptors got Marc Gasol from the Grizzlies in exchange for Jonas Valanciunas. Nice spelling, James. He spelled it Valanciunas.
Wait, I
More
didn't.
like Valen Big
I didn't
Chungus.
spell that. I
Oh,
haven't
yeah,
even.
that's right.
I haven't even
was typing
touched
it
this
quickly, I'm
document.
sorry. No, I
Alright,
won't. I'll let
Valanciunas?
James take the blame on that one. My bad.
Besides that one thing I
Alright.
just typed, that
Jonas
cannot be said.
Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick. Obviously, a player with Marc Gasol's all-star caliber. with his veteran experience, paired with Kawhi Leonard,
And
paired
Lowry.
and paired with the veteran point guard Kyle Lowry.
And
I mean, we already
Ibaka
knew
and Siakam.
they suck, and
What do you mean they suck?
we already knew they were going to go pretty far. But with the Bucks and with the Celtics and with the 76ers, you really can't tell who's going to make it out of the East at this point. But with the Raptors' addition of Marc Gasol, they really shot up to the top of the
They stepped it up
leaderboards
a
for me.
notch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regarding the trade itself, like I want to know, in my opinion, I don't know what the Grizzlies are doing. They're not going younger here, really. The youngest guy they got in this trade is DeLon, right? And he's 26. So they're not. This trade isn't even thinking future, really.
Well,
Like, other than-
2024 second round picks.
Wow, a
pretty
2024 second round pick. They got an
That's
eighth grader in exchange.
That's a very long time.
They literally just got an eighth grader.
Remember when Trey Burke was traded for an eighth grader?
Of course, I remember that. That was amazing.
That was
But like,
hilarious.
you'd think they would really try to make a push to get like Anunoby. And
So no,
I don't know.
The thing with trades is that it's, unless you're in the front office, it's really hard to tell why a team traded certain players for another player in return. But personally, I feel like the Grizzlies front office thought that, Gasol has done his service to the Grizzlies. He spent almost his entire career there. He
did
got
spend
them
his
to the
entire career.
playoffs. Yeah, he did. Well, he was with the Lakers at first, and then he got traded for his brother. But he did everything that he possibly could have done for that team. But I feel like they thought that his time was done, and before he left for them in free agency, I feel like, as is the case with most players that are traded with expiring contracts, you just want to get assets in return before they leave you, like sign with another team and leave you with absolutely nothing. But again, I could be 100% wrong because no one really has any clue.
Yeah, no, I see that take, but I still feel like they could have gotten just something more valuable.
I mean, they're still getting a pretty great center, Jonas Valanciunas. It's not like they got completely
Yeah,
ripped
he's
off.
good.
He's
He is
fantastic.
definitely good. He's just not the same level as
He's
Marc
alright.
Gasol. 16
Obviously,
points a game, 9 boards, and 5 assists.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, there's really, Sam. It's not like they got completely ripped off because it's
I don't know. I'm not saying they got ripped, but
Yeah.
I feel like they could have had a better approach.
yeah. Plus, they
Yes.
got DeLon Wright, who's incredible upside. I'm not sure how well he's been doing, but the kid's pretty young. Yeah,
Who,
he's a
DeLon
great
Wright?
point guard.
He's 20. He's 26.
You know what?
26. Wait,
Yes,
are you
he's
serious?
26.
For
He's
whoever-
26. I swear.
Never
For
mind,
whoever's
never mind.
listening to this podcast, if you're listening up to this point, comment down below who do you think won that trade? Just so we get some nice audience engagement.
All right.
Because
Well, clearly it worked out better for the Raptors since they got
Yeah.
one of the best centers in the league. To put
Yeah.
it in perspective, they're now with the lineup. They're gonna have Lowry, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, and they're gonna have to make a choice between putting either Ibaka or Siakam in the starting lineup, which means one of them is gonna be coming off the bench,
fine, you
That's
know
a
what?
good problem.
You know what?
which is just ridiculous.
Okay, you know
Like-
that was just a test to get the audience on their toes. The real question is, what team had the best trade deadline? Comment below, and we will
Okay.
shout you out in the next episode
Um,
for whoever we think had the best answer. The one person.
The one above him. I'd also like to Nurse, who's probably Coach of the Year #1 candidate. He's been doing insanely well. He's never been a head coach anywhere. He was the Raptors assistant for the past couple of years. He's done an incredible job with undertaking a new team, managing Kawhi Leonard. He's done just a great job. Personally, in my opinion, he's Coach of the Year.
I think he thanks you for that.
I highly doubt he's listening, but I appreciate that.
well, Draymond was probably listening to our last podcast. So
Draymond, if you get me started on Draymond, I swear I'm going to leave this podcast.
Steve, how could you be on the side of Draymond?
Yeah.
I don't like him as a person.
We're gonna hold that.
You know what?
against
You know
We
what?
would
I don't want
really
to. I don't want to create another timestamp, another 8-minute timestamp for Draymond. So let's just not even get into this.
All right, I see. We move on to the last top team in the East.
Okay.
The Bulls?
Bucks got Nikola Mirotic from the Pelicans, and they gave away Stanley Johnson and Jason Smith, and they just got Stanley Johnson, so they really just flipped him. My opinion, it's an absolute steal.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fine for both teams because Mirotic is on the last year of his contract, and the Pelicans are getting Stanley Johnson, who I think still has upside. But Mirotic is just a perfect fit for the Bucks. Like, he's gonna come in and fit so nicely.
So, surprisingly, he's averaged double-digit points every season of his career, which
That is not surprising.
that shocked me. The beginning of his career, I never figured he averaged that
He
many
hasn't
points.
been in the league
It's a
that
joke.
long. He came in later, and he's been pretty good.
So
Yeah,
do you
that's
guys
true.
like
And
bearded
also-
Mirotic or not bearded Mirotic?
I like bearded
Oh.
Mirotic.
Oh my God, shaved Mirotic is disgusting.
Not the most
Yeah.
flattering.
He's no.
He looks
Shaved
like a
Mirotic
bank
is up
robber.
there. He's up there with Nikola Jokic and Draymond Green as the ugliest players. When he's
My
when he's shaved.
God, get Jokic's name out of your mouth.
No.
Jeez. Give the
Yeah,
man some
Mirotic is-
respect.
Averaging an almost career high 16.7 points and a career high 8.3 rebounds. So that is a complete steal.
Good
the
for
Bucks.
him.
And that's after having some injuries during the season too,
Yeah.
because he was killing in the beginning.
Still doing well, but not the same
Yeah.
level. Like Kyle Lowry, he was in the beginning, and after injury, still doing well.
You kind of cut out again, Steven.
You know what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
So
really,
he
but
was.
yeah, it's fine. I would just like to mention that I feel like the Tobias Harris and Nikola Mirotic trades have they have served as floor spacers for both teams, something that both teams really struggle with. Both teams have very ball dominant players who like to drive to the basket as opposed to shooting 3-pointers. 76ers have Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons. And the Bucks have obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo, who can't make a three for his life.
He went 3 for 3 from 3 last night.
Okay, he also Are you
The
serious?
Bucks are also 40.
Yes, I'm serious.
He airballed like 2 wide open 3-pointers a few days ago.
Okay, well, he made up for it by going 3 for 3 from
All right.
3.
Tobias and Nikola Mirotic are 2 guys that can literally camp on the wings or in the corners. You can have someone drive to the basket, and they're going to be open in the corner of the wings every single time, and it's just great. Every team should have a player like that.
Mhm.
And
reliable sources.
yeah, especially paired with Brook Lopez.
Brooke.
Three
That-
machine.
That is, and we haven't given him enough credit either. He's done. Brook Lopez. Some of the shots that Brook Lopez takes are just frankly
love Brook
ridiculous.
Remember that
but
one
they-
game? Remember that one game he had like 9 threes?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was pulling from the
Yo,
logo. The man in
They
his
should have
face.
invited him to the 3-point contest.
They
That'd have
should
been
have.
so
Really.
cool to see.
So, Brook Lopez is still doing well this year, but it's one of the worst seasons of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Is he still a defensive liability?
statistic-wise.
Yeah.
But I mean, like he was pretty much the number one option on the Nets for a while, which is why he was putting up 20
Yeah,
points
he
a
was.
game.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, that was before like Deron Williams, Paul Pierce.
yeah,
Kevin
before
Garnett.
all the old guys passed their prime came
Before the greatest
in.
trade of all time.
And one of the worst trades in NBA
Before
history.
Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett were acquired in exchange for 7 years worth of future.
It was worth it.
It was Mr. Prokhorov's. I think it was like his 5-year championship plan.
Yeah.
Then within 5 years, he promised to bring a championship to Brooklyn.
Yeah, within 5 years.
Maybe
all the
he was talking
players they
about like
traded for retired, but
yeah.
Yep.
Maybe he was talking about like 5 years over the course of like 25 years, possibly. That could have been his direction.
well,
but...
he didn't say
Um,
when the 5 years starts.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's true.
So we're gonna have to fact check him on that.
Oh, by the way, I remember, James, you called for a fact check on Nikola Jokic being the ugliest player in the NBA last episode. And after intense research of about 30 seconds, I've determined that we are indeed correct.
This poor man gets so much hate on this podcast.
All right, if you look like that, you're going to...
We just disrespect him.
All right, guys. I'm gonna fill out my 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's okay. You can leave now.
I can't deal with this anymore.
Also, a bit of an interesting trade. Markelle Fultz going to the Magic for Jonathan Simmons. A protected first-round pick of the Thunder, and then a second-round pick from the Magic. Your thoughts, guys?
I thought it was fine for both teams, honestly.
Oh.
Magic are really they didn't have much to lose with this trade, and I mean Markelle Fultz, I don't know if he's ever gonna play basketball again. His shoulder is like a robotic shoulder. I don't even know what's wrong with it. No one does.
I don't know if I really.
Steven?
I don't know if I really love this trade for the Magic. I mean, Markelle Fultz is only a second-year player, but I mean, he's averaged like 8 points a game, and
He's
he's
only
had
played.
shoulder injury, and
He's played less than 40
he's a
games.
big liability currently. And Jonathan Simmons is a very underrated player. His defense is.
Yes.
I agree,
Yeah,
but
he's
the
on-
Magic's frame of winning is not anytime soon. So I
But
think
then
I
they already
think
give
they have the
draft
time to
picks.
take this risk.
But they give
Also,
2 draft picks.
I really don't think any trade during this trade deadline was bad for any team, mostly because most of the trades were really small ones that sucked.
Well,
I don't really get what the Grizzlies are doing with this other trade, where they acquired Avery Bradley from the Clippers for Garrett Temple and JaMychal Green. Are they? I don't know if they're trying to
Changing things
find
up a little bit. I
room.
don't know.
Yeah,
I actually
like cap
disagree
space.
with
I
it.
have no clue.
Well, doesn't Garrett Temple have like not a good contract?
Probably not.
The Grizzlies
Alright.
are just in such a bad situation because they're old, they stink, and
They don't
who
even
wants
have
to
a
play
young
for the
franchise
grind
centerpiece.
city?
But
Like they don't even have a young franchise centerpiece, so they're really starting from the bottom.
Yeah,
Jaren Jackson.
He's not a franchise centerpiece. He's a solid player.
I agree.
I'm gonna have to disagree.
You're
I
not- you're not-
strongly disagree with that.
you're not-
Jaren
I don't think-
Jackson is an incredible two-way player.
I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's the kind of the way he plays. I don't think you build around that guy.
I strongly disagree with that. I mean,
He's just a rookie, so I think he has very good potential. But
so is Mitchell Robinson, and he's practically the best NBA center right now.
Well,
That's a very
Oh.
good point. That's a
Thank
very
you,
good
thank you.
point.
Isn't
Also,
Jaren Jackson more of a power forward? What is that?
he is a 4 or 5.
yeah.
I'm-
Ooh, it's
I'm going to disagree with what James said before about the trades. I don't think the Otto Porter trade was very good at all.
The Otter reporter.
Yo, let's get to
And
that
the
trade.
Marcus Gasol one too.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the
You don't like
let's
the
talk
Marc
about the
Gasol
Otto
trade?
Porter trade.
Good
No, I
story.
do like the Marcus Gasol trade. I'm saying it's not a small one. I mean, he's an all-star player.
Yeah, well, James was saying how he didn't think any teams really lost, but I think the Bulls.
Okay, can I
take me
share an
through it.
unpopular
Of course,
opinion?
of
Can I
course.
share an unpopular opinion about this Otto Porter trade?
Of course you can.
I love it for both teams. I think it's a
Ooh.
fantastic trade for both teams. And let me explain why. Okay. So, if you didn't know the trade, Otto Porter was traded to the from the Wizards to the Bulls for Jabari Parker, Bobby Portis, and a future second. It was like 2023. It doesn't really matter. Porter, he's been kind of a disappointment this year. He's last year he signed a 4-year, $106 million extension. And he's only averaging 12.5 points this year.
Mhm.
And Parker and Portis are both averaging around 14. So Porter isn't really living up to his contract. However, I think that Washington wasn't the right place for him. I think there was too much pressure on him now that especially with John Wall gone, he was like the second option. I think he's good enough to be a second option, but I just don't think it was the right fit for him. I think he's going to fit very nicely in Chicago with Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. So I think he's just going to get the touches he should get and not have to be put in spots he doesn't want to. And also on the Bulls side of what they gave away, the Jabari Parker experiment is not working out. I hate to say it. I have all the respect in the world for Jabari Parker, but it's just he's not going to ever be that great. He could just be a role player. So I think that I think Bobby Portis was the bigger part of the trade because I think that he could be a nice piece for the future. Honestly, he's a nice 4. And I think the Wizards got 2 like solid pieces out of it. I really do.
They
I
absolutely
agree.
did. And sorry, Steven.
No, it's okay.
Just gonna mention this one point.
Sure.
The Jabari Parker experiment didn't fail for any other reason except for the fact that he tore his ACL twice in the same
Oh,
game.
it's not his fault. It's not his fault at
I
all.
was just making sure that you weren't saying that. But
No.
was
I know
averaging-
it's not. I think Jabari Parker honestly could have been a future star.
Oh,
If it wasn't
yeah.
for
He
his
absolutely-
injuries.
I think he was averaging close to 20
But
points a
like,
game.
He was.
at some point, your body can only take so much, and it's just not going to work out.
Also, by the way,
yes.
the three you mentioned, Sam, of Levine, Markkanen, and Porter, that low key sounds really nice.
Yeah, and also, oh crap, how am I forgetting his name? Oh, Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn has been pretty
nice.
decent.
And Wendell Carter Jr., another guy.
Yeah, that whole trade from Minnesota really screwed them over. To think that they could have had all these, they still could have had Chris Dunn.
Now Jimmy Butler's gone.
Yeah, they could have had Dennis Smith Jr. too, or Frank Ntilikina if they wanted to go down that treacherous path. But yeah, they really screwed themselves
Damn,
over. Anyways,
Wolves really messed up.
Steven, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I agree with most of what you said, except for two things. One, I think Otto Porter will probably be a good fit into the team, but I feel like the 12-42 Bulls are clearly not in contention this year, and they're giving away Jabari Parker, who's doing better than Otto Porter. So that's in relation to the second thing, really be a role player. Jabari Parker, Bobby Portis, and a future second-round pick. Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis are two very important pieces to the Bulls currently, and getting Otto Porter is definitely going to help the small forward situation, but I think they're giving up a lot considering
Really?
I don't think they're giving up a lot.
I don't think they see. I think they definitely don't see Jabari Parker as a big piece of the future.
They took him out of the rotation, like 2 months into the season for a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they took him out, but he's still averaging better numbers.
I think they see a lot more upside with Otto Porter, especially with the direction they're heading.
And he's proven.
I guess so. Well, Jabari Parker's proven.
He's obviously. I mean, clearly he's having a down year, but he's a great two-way player, really.
Who's having a down year? Otto Porter?
Yeah, obviously he's not having a great year statistically, but he's still one of the best 3-and-D players in the league, which is really good for the Bulls, who aren't the best defensively.
I would just, speaking of like not performing up to statistics, I know that Steven and I have argued about this before, but I personally believe that Luka Doncic is a top 20, top 15 player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, they're talking about Draymond.
Right now, I think he's a top 20 player in the league. I agree.
Thank you. Okay.
I know it's hard to say, but he's
James. Can you back me up here?
So much.
I have him on my fantasy team, so I like him.
All right. If you look at him, first of all, his statistics are incredible.
They are
20 points, 7 boards, and 5 assists.
That's amazing.
I'm not even talking about his stats, but if you just watch this kid play,
yeah,
he is
amazing.
Absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, I have seen so much film of like past like historic NBA games and obviously current NBA games. I've never seen anyone play like he has before. Just the amount of composure that he has for a 19-year-old kid.
Nice.
It's incredible. He plays like he's been playing in the league for 20 years.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
which is a scary thought to think that he's a teenager in his first year.
Yes, he's 19 years old.
So is Kevin Knox.
Which we should
age
segue to the All-Star lineups.
20?
No,
All-Star
I say we stick to Luka for a little bit and just show
right. Hold on, just give me 2 more minutes. Give me 2 more minutes so I can prove
Luka was snubbed from the All-Star team.
Luka was snubbed from the All-Star team. He absolutely should have been an All-Star.
He so was.
This kid has...
I said this last week. I should have been All-Star.
He has the vision of LeBron James. He has the three-point shooting ability of James Harden. He has
whoa. Okay, that's a stretch.
No, it's not. Trust me. If you watch this guy play, he's insane.
I've seen him play. I don't know if he's... he's a fantastic shooter, and he's able to give himself space the same way as James Harden. But just pure shooting, I don't know if he's...
The only problem that I have with him this year, which I feel like is obviously going to go way up, is his field goal percentage. And if you take a look at his games, he's shooting 43% from the field, which is okay. But if you take a look at some of his games, I feel like, and I don't know if I'm going too deep into this, but I feel like the power of being like the leader of his team gets to him, and he takes incredibly bad forced shots, especially late in the shot clock. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Rick Carlisle likes to run the flow offense, where it's basically like 7th grade rec, where there's no game plan. You just go in the offense and you just like run it however. And some of these plays some of the flow plays that Rick Carlisle runs, Luka takes the ball from the inbound and he runs down the shot clock to about 3 seconds. And then he takes a step back 3. I mean, obviously
and it goes in.
That's the highlights you see.
I mean, it's not great shot selection. That's the reason why he's shooting 43%. But other than that, this kid is an insane. He's definitely a top 15 player in the NBA. No doubt.
No doubt. Buddy. Hey.
All right, Steven, would you like to give your wrong opinion?
Just imagine how good he'll be like once he has who should not be named and he has another young player around him. Like right now, it's like really just him.
Who's that? Who's that guy? The
Kuzminskis. We said that.
Right.
I think his name is
like once he has like
Giannis?
other good players around him to make, he's gonna be even so much better.
Is his name
James,
Giannis?
don't even bring up Giannis Porzingis.
Who?
Giannis Porzingis. Okay.
Who?
If there's one person in around the NBA that I hate more than anyone, more than Draymond Green, it is Giannis Porzingis by far, 100%.
What?
Okay, All right. Giannis Porzingis literally manipulated his brother into destroying his career.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which actually also helped the Knicks' future. So
yes, he did help the Knicks, but
thank you, Giannis.
Destroyed our hearts.
Giannis.
He on opposite day. I'm never no Sam. Don't even get me started.
I really shouldn't because we're 40 minutes.
Yes,
in.
you have heard it many times before. Which is why
I say we go back to Luka. I want to hear Steven's terrible argument.
Okay. Well, why do you want to hear the wrong? Okay. If you want to hear the wrong opinion, go ahead.
Ooh.
Both sides of the spectrum.
Doncic has been outstanding this year. I mean, and he's only 19 years old. He's a veteran, but he doesn't look like he's a top 20 player. I mean, he looks like he's a top 20 player.
All right, Steven, name 20 players better than him right now.
Right now?
Right now, in 20
Can
players.
you even name 20
just
NBA
scroll
players?
down. Just scroll down to the last page of the outline and just look at the All-Star lineup.
All right, so you got James Harden.
I'm gonna say.
So that's one.
Wow, good one.
All right. Harden. All right.
Good one.
Ron, KD, Harden.
That's not a good one.
Kyrie
Harden's
Irving,
not even
Kawhi.
good. Harden's not even good.
Okay, that'll be a debate for another time. Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis.
No, Bradley Beal.
Oh my God. Okay.
Bradley
Sam.
Beal.
Are you gonna say Kyle Lowry and Klay Thompson too?
Yo, Clay's
Wait,
defense
you
is
think Luka Doncic
unmatched.
is better than Bradley Beal this year?
Yes,
Doncic.
absolutely,
I
100%.
said Doncic.
Bradley Beal might be the most underrated player in the league right now.
Bradley Beal?
Okay.
He's averaging 25 points per game and like 5 rebounds and 5
Okay.
Because he shoots like
Michael
50 times a
Carter
game.
Williams averaged 18 his rookie year.
He's shooting 47% from the field.
That was the most irrelevant thing I've ever heard.
Well, because
I just heard Michael Carter Williams.
he's high volume on a shitty team.
Whoa, PG.
Oh my God. It's feces.
On a feces team.
We're PG-13. Okay, we can't act our age.
Apologies.
It's okay.
If any of you are still listening, which I highly doubt, if you go to the Freehold Mall and like you're going up the escalator like to the food court, there's an advertisement of like some tie company, like not a tie, like some suit company, and the guy in the picture looks exactly like Michael Carter Williams, and I cannot help but stare every single time I see it.
You know that there's a poster that literally has Victor Oladipo on it.
Oh yeah, in the mall. Yeah.
Yep. All right, moving on.
Okay,
let's quickly talk about.
I just went through like all the players basically, and I have Luka at exactly number 20.
I'm putting him at 21.
Whoa!
I hate this kid.
All right, All-Star lineup time. Let's go. Hit me with it.
All right.
Yeah, we know
Team
him,
LeBron, with his first pick, he chose Kevin Durant.
Mhm.
Then James Harden. Then Kyrie. Then James Harden, Kawhi, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis,
Better
Damian
than
Lillard. Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, Cat, Dwayne Wade. He did originally pick Russell Westbrook, but he was traded to Team Giannis in exchange
Since
for
when
Ben
can you
Simmons.
trade your picks? Like what?
Since this
Since
year.
when
Since
were
right
there
now.
Like I've never seen that
picks?
before.
Team Giannis, Steph Curry,
I don't
Joel
think anyone's seen
Embiid,
it before.
Paul George, Kemba Walker, Blake Griffin, Nikola Jokic, the Ugly Man, Kyle Lowry,
Oh
Chris
my
Middleton,
god.
Dirk, D'Lo, Nikola Vucevic, Russell Westbrook, and I would guess like the honorable mention I would say is Victor Oladipo.
Okay,
Yeah.
why is Team LeBron like the A team and Giannis is like the B team?
Giannis is a
Because it is.
friendship team. Okay, he
No, I
wants
have so much
Embiid and
respect for Giannis
Westbrook
for taking
to make
taking
up.
Middleton with his first pick as a reserve was so awesome.
That's
LeBron took the all tampering team, but Giannis took the all friendly.
Yo, did you
He
guys
literally-
see the
He
clip?
literally went AD then
That was so
Clay.
funny.
Did,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
saw the
Clay.
clip of
Yeah,
LeBron
Giannis goes,
and Giannis?
Giannis goes, isn't that tampering? and then LeBron was, there are no tampering rules on All Star Weekend.
I think if
Um,
Giannis didn't draft Joel Embiid pick, then it would have been a little more even. But
Yeah, I can't
It's
wait to see Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid on the same team. That's gonna be hilarious.
But I did want to see
I can't wait to
the
see Wade and
OKC
LeBron on the
Big
same
Three.
court.
I want to
That's
see
cool.
the OKC Big Three return. That would have been sick.
Oh yeah, I mean they were
Oh, yeah, they're on
Last
the
year.
same team.
last year. They were on the same team.
They were- I don't
no, they
remember that.
weren't.
I don't think they were. Not all three of them. I think it was
I
just
don't
Westbrook
remember.
and KD. Westbrook and KD definitely were, but I think Harden was
Yeah,
on
No,
the
this
team.
All-Star sucks. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, All-Star game
The
was
All-Star
booty.
game is booty.
We will
Also,
not be doing a
Westbrook
game.
and
We
Durant
will
are
not
oops, sorry.
recap of the All-Star game
Yeah, we'll instead be doing
because
a live.
the score will probably be 165 to 155.
We'll do a live podcast during the game.
Russell Westbrook will win MVP with some bullshit triple double.
With some bull what?
Mm-hmm.
Some bull
Some-
feces. You mean?
Yes, excrement.
You're welcome.
But Russell Westbrook is no longer playing on the same team as Kevin Durant.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yes, in case any viewers were interested in that.
I would just like to, before we end this podcast, because it's getting pretty late, a great friend of mine had this very, very great quote about the New York Knicks. Jokingly, he goes, absolutely, the Knicks are a contender. He pauses for a bit and he goes, for the last spot. And then I realized to myself, this man is a legend. I would like to point him out, Kyle Drucker. I know I mentioned him last episode. I want to mention him again. Round of applause, please.
Thank
Great
you for
quote, great
your
quote.
words of encouragement, Kyle.
Contenders for the first pick. I love that quote.
I can't wait for the Knicks to get like the 5th pick, and
Yup.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna cry in my room.
That would,
Yeah.
that'd be sad.
Well, the year that we got that guy, what's his name?
Kuzminskis.
Yeah,
How many times
Kuzminski.
I tell you?
The Knicks had the second worst record, and they got the 4th pick, and then everyone was like freaking out, like, "Oh my god, we got the 4th pick! This sucks."
Who would have been Joel Okafor?
Yeah, I mean he's doing pretty well now, but
Who do we pick for
Okay,
that
wait.
4th pick?
Jaleel
Can I-
Okafor is doing very well.
Can I please just? This was on my mind earlier today. This is kind of irrelevant to what we were talking about like during the episode, but this crossed my mind today when
is
Marco.
it that
when
you
I saw
love me?
Yeah, that and this. When the Marco Fultz thing was traded, it didn't hit me, but I really just like I thought about how much of a joke the process was, because the process was really 6 guys being drafted, and 2 of them worked out of 6. It started with Markelle Williams, failed. Nerlens
Failed.
Noel, failed.
Fail.
Joe Okafor, failed. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, worked out. And then Markelle Fultz, bum. So, did the process work, or did you just get like lucky 1/3 of the time?
the process
Like-
worked.
Okay, they went.
Gotta
They
have
went
faith.
2 for 6 again.
The process
Like it worked
serves
because they
its
got 2
purpose.
studs. But
That's
like,
33%. That's pretty damn good.
That is very good.
I
okay,
mean,
when
if
you have a top 3 pick and you get a player that is not terrible,
If
only
you
2
take-
out of 6 times.
okay, if you take into account
That's a
that,
lot better than the Knicks.
shut up.
Okay.
If you take into account that
Mm.
a lot, I'm not going to say a majority, but a lot of lottery picks turn out to be busts. The fact that the 76ers were able to get 2 All-Stars in a matter of like 3-4 years with those lottery picks, that's, I would say the process is complete.
They also failed so much, though. That's my point.
You need to
Like,
adjust
You gotta
the
fail in order to
process.
succeed.
Exactly.
I mean, they're 34-20 right now, and they're only
That
going
was
up
like
after
their whole
Tobias
mantra.
I
Harris.
understand
Exactly.
it's a very talented team. It's also because they have other talented players in the team.
Yeah. Sam Hinkie was a visionary. The whole tanking thing. I mean, he really revolutionized tanking.
Yeah, too bad they're not
Yeah,
even
yeah.
making it to the conference
He
finals
failed
this year.
tanking most of the time.
He succeeded at tanking.
Ooh.
No,
I gotta
he
give him
he went several years without having any signs of
Sam
a
Hinkie
successful take. Then
died
Ben
for
Simmons
our
comes around as the
sins.
savior and
Yeah, I mean, Joel
fourth
Embiid
year
was
in.
also out for the first 2 years of his career.
You just call him Joel?
Joel.
Oh my God.
Joel.
I can't-
Joel.
I cannot with these nicknames.
Joel.
Or these pronunciations.
Otter.
We got Alonzo Trier.
Otter Porter.
Elianzo Trier?
Oh, Otter Porter.
Otter
The
Porter.
funniest story. Wait, the funniest story I've ever heard about Joel Embiid is the fact that he grew up in Africa and Cameroon, but he grew up in like a nice, like a nice area of Cameroon, I would say. He managed to convince, I forgot who it was, but he said in a press conference that he convinced one of his teammates that he had to kill a lion in order to become a man, like in his village in Cameroon. Meanwhile, he's going to like this like really nice ass school and like having a great family. He convinced his teammate that he had to kill a lion in order to survive. I thought that was pretty funny.
That just
That
proves
is-
how much we don't know about like the lives that are lived in Africa.
All right, we're not talking about Africa this episode. James.
we're just talking about Africa.
Also, going back to with Draymond, if we don't like,
Shut up.
Oh
No,
my
no.
God.
Draymond sucks. Just shut your mouth.
Okay. All right.
He
Okay.
sucks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, please do not bring up Draymond Green again.
If you want to make your own podcast that dedicates your love to Draymond Green, then
Yeah.
go ahead.
I hope Draymond, if you're watching, I genuinely hate you as a human being and as a
3/4 of
basketball
us do.
player.
Well,
That makes
I don't like him. I don't like him. He's just a good basketball player.
No, he's
Okay.
not.
He's not even good.
He's an even worse basketball player than he is person.
I don't think that's possible.
Ooh.
The guy who's averaging 80 and 7 is not very good. So, anyways, well,
See, it's a sign. It's a sign. They want you to shut up. Your mic wants you to shut
the
up.
mic wants you to shut up.
Could we? Okay. If anyone is still watching this, which I highly doubt, I said that before.
Maybe you skip to the
Um,
end.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe to get Steven a new microphone so he doesn't cut out every 30 seconds.
Yep.
So
Sponsorships, we're looking for you
please donate to us in the description.
in the
Um,
description.
I'm sorry for any inconvenience that has occurred.
No,
And
I
if
mean,
you'd like to be a
that's-
sponsor, we're here for that.
That is true. as
yeah,
well.
that is also
Yeah,
true.
but don't lowball us, idiot.
Yeah. So that pretty much sums it up. Pretty disappointing trade deadline. A few upcoming predictions. We will be back in a few days.
Or more.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned because this next episode is going to be pretty special.
Yes.
Will it?
It will.
Yes, we will be featuring a few special guests.
Oh yeah, we will.
We have
we
not
will.
decided on who. I mean, we have decided on who yet, but that is going to be a surprise.
Let's just
So,
say
yes,
if you
it's
like the
not
Knicks
usual.
or Nets, you should tune in.
Yep. Okay, I'll give a hint. It's going to be a Battle of the Boroughs episode, so it's going to be pretty interesting. So stay tuned, and thank you everyone for watching the third episode. Have an amazing night.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Can we keep
All
that?
Yeah. All right, James, send the